Welcome to podcast. You're hearing this BLANKFIELD final battle. Although I can't remember what Don Micro game this is from, because it's definitely from Don Micro, same style, gent. And yeah, it's just a great track, especially when it gets into the epic part, or the actual melody of the track. It sort of builds up to it. Yeah, it's just a fun track, really. Literally fun metal things. It's a nocturnal thing. There isn't much to say about this, really. It's just a heavy track to start with, and then it goes sort of into that other bit, melodies and stuff, and the bass is very nice, very hot. There's a guitar track and also the drums. Yeah, it's the typical BLANKFIELD. It's very good. Just really like this track, much like other BLANKFIELD arrangements in Don Micro games. I think they really found their style with this. You know, as if like their cover of Asgore was, well, this amazing fucking cover. It's seriously one of the best covers ever, I think. Just so epic and so fast as well. It's a crazy thing. Just like completely unexpected. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say about this track. Again, if you haven't listened to BLANKFIELD as a metalhead, you probably should, because you're missing out, even on the Turbo cover tracks. Anyway, let's move on. Well, this is interesting. You probably noticed a change of scenery. This took me some time, and honestly, to just release all this stuff again will take even more time. But I think, you know, the big problem here is I've just made so many things over the years, I've lost track of everything. What do I even say? What do I start with? So I've organised everything and basically found every piece of artwork I can to include in a slideshow for OBS, obviously. And I think it's good because it includes even screenshots. Because I used to make 4K screenshots. I used to call myself a game photographer, and to an extent I still can be, but I've sort of not done that in a while because I just find it exhausting, and especially if I was screenshotting Final Fantasy 14, I just give up. Because Final Fantasy 14 is one of the worst games to screenshot for landscapes. As I've discovered, character, fine. Landscape, no. And, you know, given all my characters are done during like specific times of day and shit, yeah, that's not gonna happen, sadly. There's no way in hell I'll be able to actually be able to screenshot that game in any sort of form or shape unless the area has no time of day, which they will do, I think. So it's difficult. I certainly can't get on with it for that reason. So what do I talk about now? I guess I go into why I did this. I think it'd be a bit better for a screenshot, I mean a slideshow, to actually show off pieces of artwork I've done and screenshots. I did almost include TF2. I won't include Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail or World of Warcraft. They're on my blacklist for games because they're kind of shit. Yeah, they won't be included in this, but every other game I've enjoyed, also Borderlands 3, I forgot about that. But every other game I'll include. TF2 would be in there, but the resolution on them is awful. It's 1080p, and frankly I don't feel like going back to it for screenshots anyway. But you know, there isn't much to screenshot in that game anyway. Outside a few things, but it's still not that worth it overall. Yeah, I've just got screenshots from so many different games. You'll see Eastshade, you'll see, I think, Leaving Lindo maybe? I thought it's technically the same game. You see Borderlands, obviously 2 and pre-sequel and 1 actually, you'd see a bit of, because I love the General Rock's DLC in that. It's one of my favourite bits of DLC ever. Just such a unique concept and it's quite cool. What else? Trying to think of the other games now. Witcher 3, yes, obviously I have to have that. I've made a lot of screenshots for that, and especially love some of the areas. I didn't include some, I didn't include White Orchard because it's kind of a gloomy area. I tried to make it either dark fantasy or happy fantasy. This is the Duchy of Toussaint. But obviously it's kind of difficult to include stuff because of its like nature and how it looks sometimes. So I didn't include some of it. Also, I forgot about this, but then we'll have some. I think hanging people was like a pretty image for some reason. I get the feeling I've screenshot that tree before. Yeah, again, a lot of interesting screenshots, but there's also Doom Eternal. Yeah, Doom Eternal, it's got happy screenshotting and stuff. Again, this used to be something I did, and yeah, I did for a while. I even did Genshin Impact actually. I did parts of that until in Azuma, I think. Maybe Sumeru? I don't know if I did Sumeru. Suddenly stopped at Fontaine. But it's just too much stress. Doing all that shit, especially on a crappy PC, which even this struggles with it. It's not very viable, I don't think. So it's not worth it in my opinion. And you have to like change the resolution, which changes your windows, which doesn't help. But even then, even with 1440p, I just don't feel like doing it either. Even though I've done with screenshots in 1440p anyway. But I do all the screenshots in 4K just because they age well and they actually look better. They got more going on, the more resolution. Like if I look at the image now that's on screen, that's the Duchy of Toussaint. I believe it's sunset actually. It's staring at the two pillars and, you know, looking at it. Because I remember doing this in FreeCam, I could actually explain a lot of things about methods. But I did this in FreeCam until it got out the range of Geralt's, for some reason, foliage detector. And yeah, this is what I captured somehow. But yeah, you see so much more on this than you would a 1080p screenshot. It's a crazy amount of detail. You can see the clouds, which are beautiful. Obviously, this game passes a cloud check with flying colours. Cloud check. That should be my merch thing, I think. I'm so obsessed with them. But really, they're all lazy clouds, and that's partly why World of Warcraft isn't on Neuro either. Graphics are so fucking dated on that, it's embarrassing. It's not even like it's bad necessarily, it's just style doesn't really fit the world it's supposed to be and stuff. I've always taken issue with the books being darker, even though I like the books, but they're darker than it feels in game, which is very unusual. So I'm not a fan of that. Yeah, like so many things. Also set it to random, so you should get different screenshots each time, if I'm not mistaken. If not, there's a bug. I'm pretty sure there is actually random screenshots, or images as well, artwork. The other one I want to explain is Borderlands 1, because I had a very interesting inquiry about that. I had someone asking me on Steam about how I achieved it, and I literally cannot remember. This was like over 6 years ago, I think. I took these screenshots. And the problem is, there is no reliable sort of trainer or G-engine utility for that game. So I had to make do with things, and I only remembered like a year or two ago how I did it. And it turns out I was using it to my advantage. I was using super speed, super jump, and time slow. So that allowed me to change everything, and there was a G-engine table if I remember correctly. So you had like different hotkeys based on what these other users used, which was really handy. I think I even linked it back on a release season to Fine Art. So it's a very interesting process, and I'm literally surprised that I did that. That's how I got all those screenshots. I literally did that. I sped up time and stuff, although it actually might not have been speed. It might have just been time. But that's what I tended to do. to make it quick and make it effective. But on top of like the super jump and stuff, you know, I had more of an advantage there. Borderlands 2, I can't remember if you had free cam, so I can't really comment on that. See, The Witcher 3 I already explained a bit. It has a free cam, but it has a range before the foliage disappears. Trying to think what else. Anything else in the games? Like Doom Eternal? You sort of already have a no clip, I think, or a flying mode, so it's not really that difficult to do that one. But that is a fun game. That's why I screenshot it. So it represents portions of that, and it's a screenshot of East Shade now. This is a game that came out in 2015, I think. I played it in 2017 or 2018. Essentially, and made all these screenshots. It's a beautiful game. Very different as well. Can't remember it very much now. I reckon it probably run better. It used to run like shit back then because of my bad PC. But yeah, it's honestly a really surprisingly good looking game. It's actually an art piece, and art piece of an art piece, I think. You don't get many games like that though. It is one of a kind. Also 100%ed it, which is very interesting. Also, I have one of the achievements that someone else has, which is which nobody else actually has. It's a very rare achievement on Steam. I think it's like 0.1% actually, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 0.5. But very few people actually have it. It was like some secret you have to do. It's like picking flowers and then having an interaction with something. I can't remember the exact details. It's an interesting game. But yeah, and then I've got tons of artwork. I've got stuff spanning from like 2017 to about obviously recent, and obviously today. But it's got an evolution of stuff. I remember I did some like evolution screenshots I mean artwork, back in Photoshop, and that's where you'll see a bunch of that from. So you'll see evolution artwork every now and then, which I made. Some you may have never seen before, because obviously that used to be on the vinyl. I made like entire backgrounds, and that's the point. I wanted to show my love and appreciation of the evolutions, because I do love them, and made individual backgrounds for them, individual wallpapers that people can use. And Joanne always tried to capture one of their signature moves, one of their best moves, at least, because if it wasn't a signature move, it'd be their best one. And yeah, that's generally what I did. And it's harder to do like Espion, for example, because the only one I could think of that was any semi-decent was probably Light Screen. But I don't know what sort of attacking moves Espion even has, if any. You know, the way Pokemon are tuned is kind of gimmicky. And then Eevee I was just left with Swift because it's kind of adorable. That was the other thing. Actually, it wasn't just that. I remember now, it was actually the Pokemon gallery figures. It wasn't the fucking moves that they had, it's just that. So I was trying to copy it essentially, because I felt like having a digital version of it too. Back when I actually collected those and looked into them. But obviously I don't have them. I sold them eventually. Didn't really feel like keeping them because I was gathering dust, and given the price as well and the imports as well, that's a crazy thing. Fucking imported from the US, which is insane. They're expensive. They're like £20 each back then. I'm pretty sure they're probably more now. Maybe, I don't know. It depends. But that's why I made the wallpapers anyway. It's sort of a way to remember that and appreciate them. Also serves as an alternative as well if you have like a PC and stuff. They would be good animated, and honestly, without really anything else to say, I think I'd actually give people permission to animate any of my artwork. Like if you want to put in wallpaper engine, for example, it'd be fine. I wouldn't take an issue with that. Certainly not that people do take like steal artwork and stuff. They don't credit it, unfortunately. It's just a bit annoying. But I don't mind it for mine, because it's there for a reason. I made it for a specific purpose. I have excluded a Danganronpa wallpaper I made, because it's a cute idea. It's a really good idea actually, but He hasn't aged well. My art style was shite in that. Didn't have one. It was just Giro and Chiaki together with Eevee and Pikachu. And this is back when Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu were a thing in the Pokemon space, and it was a new game. Yeah, I also have some Sonic papers too, which can be interesting. Of what few I have anyway, because I didn't make many, technically speaking. So yeah, again, there's a lot of detail here. I just think it's good to look back on stuff. You do see evolutions in how I've made artwork. Also, you see some where it's just kind of like, maybe you haven't changed that much. It's just kind of sad. I think something like Sotopa, which, for example, which is a Sonic location I made up, which is basically the opposite of a Sonic Unleashed area. Actually, it's just backwards. No, is it? Yeah, I think it is actually backwards for Apotus. For something like that, it's very similar to one I made called Stress, which is a background. So yeah, I don't really have anything else to add, to be honest. I think I forgot about this. In some of the Witcher screenshots, you will see bugs. I'm not sure if you can see it in this one. I wish I could zoom in. Actually, I can. No, I can't. But some of the faces are like off center. I don't know why. Even when I was staring at them in free cam, they were just like fucking slanted and buggy. It's just so off-putting. It's like the LOD kicked in before it even needed to kick in. It's probably what I guess is happening there. But it's such a weird bug. Yeah, as I said, it's really stressful making screenshots. It's not something I could recommend, and honestly, if I were to do it today, I'd have to just do select areas. I wouldn't do what I used to do, where I just got every area, because I think people might like areas more than others, and that's why I did it. It's more of a thing that I did out of, I don't know, consideration, I guess. That's the term I'd use here. But now it's kind of like, I need to consider my mental health at this point, because it did stress me back then. In some areas I'm happy doing tons of screenshots for, like the Duchy of Tucson, that was amazing. It's still even good. I even saw the Easter egg actually of the developers. I can't remember if someone else discovered that before, but I actually looked at it in game and it was kind of surprising. It's way out of bounds on the map, so you won't be able to see it naturally. But yeah, fascinating stories. Also, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands in this. I forgot about that. I love that game. It's definitely good. Good for one playthrough. Helped me through a rough time too. I remember the same day, yeah, the police come around because I was feeling suicidal, and eventually arranged something with family about moving, and eventually I got supplied accommodation, and it's how I ended up here. It's also one of the games I installed that day because I was just feeling so down. It's like, you know what, fuck it. I'm playing a different game, and it sort of helped. So yeah, that pulled me through that, obviously. It does have a special place in my heart. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add. I kind of talked about most things. If you have any questions, of course, I'm happy to answer. But it's just like my world, I think, my artwork and screenshots, game photography, as I call it. Because I also added something, I forgot about that. In some screenshots I used to use reshade, and then I started to use something else for the Overwatch. I forgot about Overwatch. I wouldn't include that though. But I started using something else called Luminar, I believe. And it's like a batch processing, post-processing rather, piece of software where you can actually like batch render effects onto things. So if you wanted to have more bloom, for example, you can add that. If you wanted to have more vibrancy, you can add that. You could do it for every screenshot. And I eventually started releasing versions with and without that, just to accommodate that sort of niche, which I do like. I do like vibrant screenshots. That's why you see so many of them. That's why I screenshot so many games as well. I used to anyway. But yes, just, you know, stuff I used to do. It's fun, sort of. It's just good to look back on as well. That's why I'm including them here. It's just all the memories, and hopefully you get like a bit of artwork instead. It does include Sonic artwork and one of the animations, but I don't know if it'll play. Because there's only that other one which I'm not going to release for certain reasons. It's just a yikes because people are fucking weirdos when it comes to that. So yeah. But I don't know when I'll do, as I said, redistributing stuff. So what am I doing? For some reason I have to go do something, but I can't remember what I'm doing now. Yeah, so updating my to-do list because I write this stuff down. Let's see, again, so my screenshots re-upload, I've not done that. Did the slideshow, that's one I need to do. Yeah, so I don't have anything else. I think that's about it, actually. Yeah, I think let's move on. Oh, well, starting from that other topic, might as well talk about it. What would my idea of apartment slash flat look like? Because obviously I think apartments and flats are kind of the same thing. Although I think apartments are probably a bit more fancy in those terms, but I don't know. I swear it's just the same thing anyway. But I'm thinking, what's my ideal flat? And I think it's quite an obvious one, really. First things first, soundproofed. I do not want to hear people above me. I do not want to hear people below me. I do not want to hear them from the sides either. And importantly, no fucking loud music. Because Jesus Christ, if you ever fucking cross me playing loudspeaker music, I will make your life a living hell. That pleasantry aside, I think the other thing is that it just needs to be equipped properly. I think also the building, I forget to talk about that, the exterior. I'm not fussed about parking and stuff, I don't drive. I have considered it, so it would be a bonus if there is parking, I guess. But I'm not considering driving anytime soon, especially in this fucking climate, like Jesus Christ. I'm wanting to look into more eco-friendly options, perhaps, something like that. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else there is. Like for a flat, it has to be a smaller building. Because I do not want the fucking high-rise flats. Fuck that. More risk of stupidity. More risk of fires. More risk of anything. More risk of losing home. Fuck off with that. I don't know why they build these flats. I don't know why they're legal. It's so stupid. If we're gonna have a fucking stack system, at least separate it properly. Like, have it where the supports are like, I don't know, separated every bit. So there's like no travel of sound through the thing, and it's like obviously bouncing off something else. So yeah, I just don't understand it. But a good building is obviously essential there, so I'm thinking like 2-3 stories is probably the max I'll go. Because it also opens up risk of sound, and if I can only just hear 2 neighbours, it won't be so bad. It depends on obviously who they are. That will have an impact as well. Also, just people who are quiet would be a bonus. I'm not sure if they do like a flat service where it's just for people with sensory issues or PTSD or anything. It would be better to have that, in my opinion. Because that would just mean everything's a bit safer, potentially. It's not always safe with PTSD, sadly, because it does make people violent sometimes. That's the only problem. But it'd be far better, I think. Even with that risk of someone just going on my door and smashing it. Although they wouldn't see the next day, I don't think, if they cross me. Again, it's, I don't know, I'm not a dangerous person, but I am knowledgeable enough. I've been through shit. Actually, weird fact, I used to live in a flat as a kid with my dad. We had to go there because it was the only place we could live. It just divorced, and we were going between parents. I was going between my parents. Not a custody thing, it's just a choice thing. We all agreed on it. So that's how we handled things, which was good. It's generally a better system than most have. But we had to live in a flat for some time, and we lived with a fucking druggie. Great. You can expect how that went down. And I think eventually, my dad actually knocked someone out at that point. Someone was like around the flat or something. I think he like actually knocked out the guy who was actually renting it to us, who was a druggie. I can't remember the full story, but it's pretty crazy. Again, I've been there, so I know what to expect. What's the other thing? Yeah, other than people, I suppose interior. Again, if we're talking interior, I think one of the most important points, other than soundproofing, it just has to be a nice flat. I don't want a room like this again, because even though with like a second thing above me, like another room, even though that would be beneficial, I do think I need something that's an upgrade. So I can't just have a bedroom kitchen situation. It doesn't also seem very hygienic or healthy to me, so that's not possible. If I could have a living room, I wouldn't really care. I'd use it, potentially. It'd be great for visitors and stuff, but I wouldn't actually, want one. I think it's a bit pointless for me. It's kind of wasted. Because obviously I don't really use the living room. I don't watch TV. If I did, it'd be in my own room. That's how I go. So yeah, I need a kitchen, obviously. And I think I'll be fine with this kitchen anyway. Be able to fit everything in, and I'll be able to organise it better, which is a benefit. Hopefully it has a electric cooker, because I don't really like gas. I've cooked with gas for years and I just can't get used to it. I fucking hate it when it doesn't light. I hate the smell. I hate the amount of heat it gets off, which doesn't always get off the heat properly. And also it's a risk of, it exploding. So I'd just rather avoid that. At least I've got an air fryer, which is better, I think. The kitchen would be decent. Obviously a good sink. Hopefully not one as shit as this. It's high pressure or something. But then obviously I'd go into the toilet. I think the toilet and bathroom situation somewhat important to me. I would like one facing a natural light window. I think that would be great for me, because I would struggle with not having natural light. I've seen different flats in the UK, that I could just look at one now. The UK, YouTube it. Alright. What about like a mid-range? UK mid-range flat tool? Because that's probably what I'll be looking at. So yeah, London studio flat. For how much? 1,350 per month. That's fucking insane. Also, what's even in this? Okay, you got like a almost full-fledged house. No oven though. Which is a bit dull. The bathroom is tiny. Not good. Yeah, that is stupid. London, what the fuck are you doing? I'm not even looking for London. I don't know why it comes up with London for every fucking result. The university house flat? Same thing? I don't know. Apparently I watched this before, which I don't remember doing. I don't know. I guess it's hard to find stuff. Why is it so hard to find? A loft apartment would be cool. Obviously it'd be expensive, I think. Again, I'm not looking for like London, just fuck off. If you could remove London, I mean remove it from the search bar. Yeah, believe it or not, people are London isn't the only UK city. I just find it silly when it's like the only place that gets visited and talked about. Maybe let's do Bristol, because I'm sort of familiar with Bristol. I like the place, it seems nice. So it might be good to look into that. Second year flat tour. She's got a nice room. Like a bed by the window and a projector on it, like on the wall, which is nice. I fucking love that actually. Also, I need to get an ottoman to change my my setup a bit and get a projector. That's just another room. So it's a shared place, I think. But that's something else. I can't share a place. I absolutely cannot do that. This doesn't really provide much info. Also, it's got a stupid fucking shower. I don't like showers. It's just injuries waiting to happen. I don't understand why they're common. If anything, you should probably get like some square thingy, square bath. That's it. The apartment flat's all in Bristol, England. Let's look at that. This guy's too tall for it. He's like 6'1" or something. That looks a bit. The bedroom's nice. Wardrobe is decent. I wouldn't look forward to using a wardrobe actually. I wouldn't even use one. I'm so done with hangers. I fucking hate them. I've used hangers for years and I just can't get used to it. The kitchen's nice, the living room's nice, the balcony's nice. That'd be a nice bonus though. The balcony would be good with like pools and stuff. A nice view and yeah, just masturbate off the side, maybe not. Yeah. But anyway, like interior wise, again, toilet needs to be wide enough and need a bidet. That much is obvious. I can't do anything without a bidet at this point, although it might not be necessary with my stress. I could try and find an add-on. There's always a possibility, potentially. Not fussed about the types of sinks. Although to be fair, because I get a lot of hair in it somehow, I seem to lose a lot of hair. I don't know what's going on with that male pattern baldness at age 29. But bath would be nice, as I said. Although I could try and find a way to. Can you get like conversions or something, or temporary things? Maybe there's a way to sort of make it into a bath. I don't know. Although I could just get a stall, that actually might be better. But also I need to access my fucking towel up there. That's the other thing. I hate showers because I want easy access to towels. I want to dry my hair quick so I can get onto my computer afterwards. Want to be as dry as I can be after getting out of the bath and stuff. And also the space matters. I don't like touching things that maybe shouldn't be touched or whatever. Yeah, again, there's like quite a few problems to address there. Then going into other spaces, again, living room. I'm not fussed. If I have one, cool. If I don't, fine. But it'll be just another storage room, and maybe I'll get a sofa at some point with a TV or something. Because that could come in handy, you never know. Might have people over, I'm not sure. What's the other thing? Yeah, bedroom, obviously. I need a decent sized bedroom. Because it would have to be my, like, obviously, office space, or whatever you call it. If it is, if it's called a room. You know, if you look at this space here, like, there's no way a flat can be any smaller than this. And I'm able to fit pretty much everything in here I need to. Also there's some compromises. So yeah, it's not a big deal breaker. Small bedroom would be cool actually, because it'd be better for the aircon. Aircon would be great as an addition if they have those. I don't know if flats even come equipped with those actually. It would be nice if they did, to be fair. Yeah, I think in general, there ain't really much else to look out for in terms of a flat. Like, I suppose I do worry if I'm looking around, maybe there will be these like corrupt and dumbass landlords, and I'd obviously point it out if I see it. It's like, you can't be selling this to the fucking market of mould, which I'm pretty sure is also illegal. Because I've heard about those horror stories with flats having leaks and mould problems and shit. And you know, people say like beggars can't be choosers, but I'm fucking ill. I've got a lot of problems in my hand and I can't deal with any more. I've got asthma. and I'm sensitive to this shit as well. Apparently it's very sensitive to mold spores. So I get like come out in rashes. Actually, speaking of which, I haven't had a rash. Actually I have. Yeah, I'm not really a rash, just a really bad itch. When I get itchy and it's not like going away, I tend to put an anti-itch cream on. Again, there's so many things to consider with that though. Like, a scummy landlord is also a bad sign too. You know, if I'm looking around with like, I don't know who it'd be, maybe a social worker, I don't know. But if I'm looking around and they're like, well, ignore that mould. Just be like, no. You fuckers are trying to sell me a place with a really big danger. And no, I'm not going to ignore that. I might as well actively put it out there that people should avoid that place as well. Like, publicly shame them because this is awful. We'll see, hopefully they'll lose profit. People can also update it as well, like say the specific place and where it's obviously happening. Also what sort of issues there are, like I'd also do my research, I think. I'll look up, I'm assuming you can like review places, can you? Can you review a house? That's weird. Can you review a flat? Because I guess you need to know. No, I don't think you can. Yeah, I just wish I'd be able to know rather what people say. That'd be extremely handy for that, this sort of thing. Can't think what else. I guess it does matter also to an extent on what the floor's like, I guess. Because I don't know if I'll be able to live with carpet again after having used a wood floor for so long. The only thing with carpet is I think spiders hide in it and I don't really notice them, which is a good thing, but with a floor I'd just rather have something cold beneath my feet, especially with this changing climate as we're in. Windows would be nice, like big windows. I think they should be mandatory on them. In all honesty, big windows are nice. I've had big windows for the last two houses. Yeah, they do some work actually. They actually really help with mood and stuff. It obviously helps with stress, but to me it helps with mood because I get to see a lot more natural light, and it's probably like a vitamin D thing. So obviously that'd be like a big bonus if that was a actual thing. Also need to be able to fit an aircon and window seal kit and stuff on it, and a net. Speaking of which, actually, hang on. I'm so fucking stupid. Because the Velcro on the, I forgot what it's called, the locking tape or whatever, it's actually the loop tape, I actually think it's called. I think it actually hooks onto that material, like Velcro, but it can also hook onto nets. So actually I've got something there that actually would work for like aircon and whatever. And also if I could be able to close doors and stuff in the flat, like be able to go from living room to, let's say, my bedroom and stuff and keep heat out and cold in, whatever. That'd be a great benefit. I could see that having some positive effects. Yeah, it'd be great to have my own privacy too. The only thing I'd miss about moving into a flat, being alone as well, is because I don't really think I'm going to get any pets or live with people. I think living with people might be a struggle. But yeah, I do feel a bit awkward doing it though. Not sure about living alone. Getting the internet would be important. Fucking hell, I don't forget that. Not sure what else. I need Ethernet and stuff. It wouldn't be hard to set up. I'll probably redo some of the furniture as well as I've got here. Redo everything. I think it depends on the design. If I get crappy wallpaper, I don't know what I'd do about that. If it's wallpaper anyway, if it's paintable, I might consider painting it again. I don't know. There's like quite a few things to consider here. also noise on the neighbours. I need to check the walls again. I think I discovered this technique actually looking at some of the other places. Like, I literally tap the wall to find out if it's actually solid or wood. And because some flats are like wood, it seems really fucking stupid. So that's a good way to check if I like it or not just from the get-go. If it's got wood, that's a no-go. Again, it needs to literally be made of concrete, otherwise it's not structurally sane or even soundproof-wise, it's not even good. But yeah, as I said, I feel a bit awkward not living with people. But at the same time, living here on my own, when I was living here on my own, it was good aside from the lack of a fucking door. That was the main thing. I didn't feel safe without a door. Literally felt like anyone could just walk in, take pictures of me whilst I'm in bed, and draw faces on me, and then post me onto Pornhub. Yay. That's the life. But anyway, I haven't got anything else to add. I'll see you on Pornhub, I guess. Or not. I sometimes think about what would it have been if I was in a different kind of family and obviously different ideas and stuff. And that comes to mind because of just the way the world is now, the way we're seeing it. What would my life have been like if my family was like, for example, all right wing and maybe even like just full on Christian as well? I already had half Christian upbringing anyway, but it's besides the point. But I wonder how it would have been. I wonder if I'd be like these idiots online who think migration is really a problem in the UK and think that woke is bad and stuff. Again, I just wonder what I'd be like, and then I have to remember it's not the upbringing that shaped me necessarily, it's the experiences that I had during them. And that really impacts everything that I believe in when I look back on everything. From as young as I can remember, like 6 years old, to about now. And a lot of what I believe and what I think is true is essentially just based in those realities, those experiences. I believed from a young age, and I also was quite vulnerable from a young age as well. I also seen really horrible shit that's traumatic, and again, I come out of those experiences with stuff. I was fortunate to have kind people, but again, if you replace them with different types, then you'd still have like aspects of it which exist, like trauma, and these experiences will still exist no matter what. So it always comes back to that, rather than your parents or what your family believes in. Which I think is a really important thing to take into account, because it was also kind of reflected in people sometimes when they have family who believe different things. But again, it's the experiences that matter, and then if you look at something like my sexuality, which I've known since I was about 7 or 8 years old, you know, those things don't leave you. They can't, because they're natural. And these experiences, while not always natural, they do leave an impact on you. They leave a mark, whether it's good or bad. And that shapes you. It makes you into the sort of person you become as an adult. So if your family does abuse you, unfortunately they do sometimes, then you'll end up being either really traumatised or really apathetic. You'll become like them. That's an unfortunate reality for one person I know. But again, it doesn't really matter the sort of background, it matters the experiences you have. I think if you go to a rich school, for example, you'll still have many problems, but you could probably still get out of it with a different mindset, different worldview rather. So I think it's still entirely possible. It's often why I don't really condemn people for just believing in these things, well, willy-nilly. Because I believe there is a point at which people can change. And it's if they look back on their experiences. As I got older, I started to realise things are not as they seem. I knew as a child I wouldn't be able to get a job. And what do you know, I couldn't. I was more of a person that stayed indoors and played games. Which itself, I didn't obviously follow that path. Again, that experience, again, shaped me to who I am today. I can still enjoy games this many years later. And on top of that, I still have the same experiences. They don't change. So I think, once again, the answer to the question is would things be different is literally not really. There'd be some differences, but they wouldn't be very blatantly obvious. So I think that is what it comes down to. Yeah, so what do I even need to say? There was another thing. A few years ago, I had a traumatic experience that I had to confront eventually. I had a lot of thinking in that time because it was just one of those times where it was like really stressful. I thought about what really mattered and how I could essentially set my path onto something more positive that obviously stems away from that, and obviously use that experience to make good on the world. And that helped lead me to this path I'm on now. I just find the truth in everything. And I have such a powerful position that nobody's actually able to argue. It's insane. That's pretty crazy to think about. You know, if people can't argue against this position, it really shows that there is something there. It shows that, like, what do I even say? The experiences really do shape you. I think if you deny that, you're denying existence itself. And even then, if we were to look at it from the perspective of, like, maybe you didn't grow up properly, maybe you grew up somehow in the wild, like somehow someone lives like that, and you would have all those experiences there, you know, things that you should do, things that you can't do, the pain teaches you, and that's what it is in the end. What those things do, that's what they're there for. Our senses are all intertwined with whatever it is we've built here. And Jesus is one of the most fucking powerful things I've ever said. It's literally how the world works. So if we ignore those experiences, we ignore what's true to ourselves, what's fundamental, and we ignore ways to progress and help society, we actively put everyone in danger because we don't use experiences. So that's all the more reason to keep fighting for it, to use your experiences to do good on the world. And also before this, I was looking at like flats in my local area because I was wondering, well, what the fuck can I even do about flats, because I'm not entirely sure myself. Because I know flats can be a bit annoying and have problems. I was looking into that stuff and I was thinking, like, half of these are in places that I know are going to be noisy, so I don't know not to look at them. Most of them are expensive, so that already eliminates a lot of them, and then I've just narrowed down to the nicer ones, even though they're a bit cheaper and a bit more skimmed. They're actually better. And I know from experience, again, to look out for problems. I even saw one that's above a fucking pub, or near it actually, not above it, but near it. I'm thinking, no, I'm not gonna fucking live in a shithole like that. That is just hell. So again, it leads back to those points. Unless you're like a really good night sleeper, you don't really have a reason to live there. And also, I'd probably want to make a thing about not selling places like that to people, because it's shit. From experience, all these noise issues, they really gain up on you, even if you're not sensitive to noise. When you're around rowdy people like that, especially in your own home, it really plays on you. So I know not to overlook a place like that, to not even tempt it. That's why I sort of said on the last place I looked at from experience, because it was on the main road, I just immediately said no. I know this place isn't for me because it's on a main road, and I know that's where a lot of the noise comes from. That will bother me. The people who make noise in the houses next to me is secondary. And yeah, that's about it. There's all to look out for. The noises you make, it really varies, really. It depends what's going on. I know I used to live below a boiler, so I sort of know what to look out for in that sense if I live with people, but I don't really want to live with people. And I know, again, from experience, this is a thing. It all comes back, it's intertwined. Society and your senses are all intertwined, in a way. You don't realise it. But that experience, living with people, again, is like a no-go. I know I can't trust myself to live with people. It'd be too potentially dangerous, I will say. Because I don't know what I'm going to be like during a really bad meltdown, but also I know I can't really trust people either. It's difficult, and the problems they cause me in terms of senses, that will create problems later on. Like flares up my Crohn's disease, it does many different things. And again, it's experience that's teaching me that. So we keep going back to this place again. Why is it experience that controls everything? It's because it is the teacher. Weirdly enough, even your education is an experience. Even your job is an experience, even a hobby. Life is just compiled up of all this. And that's why I think it's really important to look back on it. Again, if my situation was any different, I think if you replace one side of it with that story again about it being a family that's like right-leaning, for example, I think I would still be the same person I am today, albeit with some different probably viewpoints and actions, but I think I still believe the same thing. I still believe that climate change is real, I believe in the science, I believe in creating a kinder world for everyone. Again, it comes back to so many things. And that's, I think, pretty fundamental. So yeah, I don't know what else to add here. I think it's really enough one of the most important things I've talked about here in quite a while. But it's also weird because it's kind of like a little sort of, not an anecdote, I don't know what to call it actually, a tangent I suppose, but putting a different perspective on my life as a whole by replacing one area of it with something else and seeing what would have changed. And then the experiences would have remained the same. Yeah. Again, I think I'd still be at the same conclusion I am now. Just realising what fundamentally matters. So yeah, I don't really know what else to add. So let's move on. So, Mika and the Witch's Mountain. I've been playing this for the past week, or rather a few days I think. And it's been a very interesting game because this just made me feel nostalgic, and you're probably seeing it on the screen right now. Yeah, this game is amazing. It is one of the best games I've ever played. So good, it made it to my Hall of Fame. It's just so cute and cozy and has so many things going for it. It has bad things, sadly, but I don't know if it's really that avoidable, to be honest. This game is really special, it really is. It's truly a game. It just feels like it's accessible for the most part, except a bit of a janky control screen. I don't know if controller makes a difference, but I was just fine with mouse, because you can control the mouse. Just got it handy, so it allows you to do curves, although it can be a bit difficult technically. Yeah, you almost need like a hold down button for it instead to like properly move it. That's how some games do it. I think GTA does that. Or maybe it's Burnout Paradise, I can't remember. Yeah, this game is honestly great. It's stupidly good. and it's very fun. I've unlocked everything sadly, so you've probably been spoiled things, but no problem. We just don't look then. But where do I start? I think the graphics are the most apparent thing. It's very vibrant, very nice. And for as far as graphics go, it's very good. I wouldn't say I paid attention to the FPS. I was capped it at 85 for resource purposes and temperature, and it ran just fine. Didn't get any stars or anything, no crashes somehow, because I sort of saw those in the reviews, and apparently it happens, but I didn't find it. But yeah, it runs fine, and graphically, it is good. Even though it's a bit of a low texture resolution, stuff like this, and I'll go through the display settings. You've got like FPS and stuff, you've got Windows brightness. I don't know why you need brightness, it's frankly bright enough. Can you change? Okay, resolution can't really go very far. It's interesting it only does it in game though. I've never known a game to do that. That's very interesting. But graphics, depth of field, I turned off because it just didn't really make sense. Outlines I kept on. You can change your quality levels, so you've got increase and reduce, and those are the differences. Not a massive increase or decrease. The grass doesn't change, but some things do, like the shadows for some reason. And they've got SSAO, which is like the ambient occlusion stuff. It has finer details. And light shafts, not facing anywhere. That. So light shafts would be better than that, would it? And let me find a building or something to stand behind, I guess. Yeah, there's a light shaft, I think. So obviously, turn them on or off, I think. Yeah. It looks much better with an anti-aliasing. Don't really notice it that much. It sort of makes a difference. Makes it look a bit less jagged, just not massive and then bloom. Not that it work there, but SSR, I don't know what SSR is actually. It's a very impressive game graphically though, but there is a lack of settings, I will say. I think it's a bit disappointing there, and then you've got control schemes. You can invert the cameras, because obviously if you're flying, you're used to that camera speed. Didn't realise you had that. But my favourite part of this, accessibility, rebinding. You could change everything, pretty much. Except for those on the side there, which are not highlighted. But it's actually fucking crazy, you can change it. So I could change this to M, for example. Okay. Change it to M. Now I can open and close the map like that. I wish you could open the full map from this menu, but it's fine. Also you can change the package with scroll wheel. I've been doing that. Anything else? Not really. It's a very simple control scheme. There's nothing too bad about it. The controls themselves are good. It's just Mika running around, jumping. Quite responsive. And then you got the boom, which will vary because you get different booms each time. But it's a bit janky. It's like it takes a while to go to a full stop, and when you press S, it turns you, which isn't really how I'd want it to work. But you've got shift and left. Shift gives you a boost in the early game. When you get this green outfit, you basically get free flying all the time, which is very fun. But yeah, it's very well done. And this, it sort of works. Yeah, it's quite impressive though. It's very fun to fly around and stuff. And then you get these wind currents, which help you up, help you move as well, wherever they are. They're up here. There's like an upward one, so it'll help you fly upwards. But you do need to be in them though, that's the problem. I find this game has a problem of grabbing you into these things sometimes. And also when you carry stuff, because this is the other thing, the items have a gimmick where they cannot get wet or be broken. But it depends on the item. And it will lead you to a bad delivery experience, which is part of the game. It's sort of Kiki's delivery service, but in a game form. That's how I'll describe it in a way. But that can happen. You've got so many collectibles and unlocks, I've already done everything, so I can't shut it off really. But it's worth looking at a guide. You've also got little side quests like feeding the kittens, which you only do once, to be fair. You can sort of pet the doggo, but you can't really. I don't know where the doggo is at the moment. And you got furries as well, like this guy. He's on R34's most wanted list. There's a doggo. Excellent. It's strange how we have doggos and furries. That's interesting. And froggy chairs. Yes, for some reason there's froggy chairs there. Yeah. Don't know what that's about. It's very bizarre. Aside from that, gameplay wise is pretty decent. There's a fair few things to do. There's like dungeons, which I hate. The dungeons are one of the worst parts of this game. Very poorly designed and inaccessible in areas. Not to mention the collectibles in them are a bit shy. I don't actually know why you need them exactly. So I didn't unlock anything, I don't think, anyway. It's all I noticed, which is weird. But I did it anyway. You get charms as well, you unlock different outfits, you can buy things. Yeah, again, there's a lot of things to do. It seems overwhelming, but you get used to it as it slowly introduces you to each system, including stuff like sponges, which you use to put out fires. And there's barely any in the game, so I don't know why they even bothered with it, in all honesty. But it's very strange, but then again it's a small game, so that's what makes sense. But yeah, I just bob my head back and forth whilst I talk. There's dual physics on the hat, which is interesting. Sure. Also, you can stack these things, of course. You can grab like a second thing. You can even grab all the sponges, actually, and that makes sense. But over time, you increase the stack. So, yeah, it's good. What else? There's a rat. I don't think I've ever seen the rat. Come here. Gimme. Yeah, okay. But the story of the game is very interesting too. It's just, yeah, like, it starts off very interesting because you wouldn't expect it. But then it gets crazy, sort of. You see terrible shit happening and stuff. It's not like, this is a cozy game, to be clear. The story is cozy, but the world is too. And one of the things that surprised me was to do with the fish. I was actually really surprised they didn't go the route of, oh, we just do fishing for food and stuff. They didn't here, which is unique, and that deserves mentioning. What else? Again, it's just like a cozy game. There isn't much to say on it. The only parts that are not cozy, I'd argue, are the dungeons and the races. Deliveries can be a bit stressful because of just the nature of the map and stuff. Because you have to be careful of it, and you can miss 2 achievements. This is one of the worst fucking parts of the game. Of 3 achievements, actually. I got one of them, but I missed 2. And it's if you get a bad delivery, and if you don't give your inventory to people. But yeah, story-wise, it is fine. It's nothing too special. But individual stories themselves, with characters around the world, like this guy, a churro business. I believe there's a sailors here, and those two are. And then you've got an ice cream guy here who looks like Shrek. And the sandcastle, which you can trample on. He has a friend now. That's interesting. He didn't have that before. But yeah, it's like a world filled with characters and dialogue. It's kind of nuts, actually. As I said, there's collectibles around the world too. Who's this guy? Wait, what? Right, want some more plasters? Huh? Wait, they're dating, I forgot about that. But yeah, you can find interesting things and stuff. It's just, it's a game, as I keep saying. It's nothing more than a game, and it's just a really good game at that. But yeah, I really can't fault it. The story is decent. It has a surprise at the end as well. It's quite a surprising ending. But also, unlike other games, this is the thing I love about this. When you're done with the story, you can still play it. As in, you can go back to doing things around the world. You could do things that you wanted to do, like, I don't know, finish the side quests and finish the achievements. Except for the missable ones, which I've since you used Sam to address. Speaking of which, I'll do the next one. Yeah, it's, as I said, it's just one of those games. It's a thing, and I really enjoyed it. It is one of the best games, I think. I 100% recommend it. It was on my radar for a while, and I think it was during the Yogscast. What was it called? I forgot what they called it. Not Camp York, that's a different thing. But I swear it's from the Yogs. It's not Yogs published, so I haven't said that. But yeah, this game is great. I cannot fault it. It is one of the best. So I do strongly recommend it. It's accessible, it's fun, and it's an interesting world. It's beautiful to look at as well, even though it's quite simple. It's quite N64 as I would describe it. But yeah, I do really like this game. It's just crazy. That's why I 100%ed it anyway. It took 8 hours to do 100%, which is a bit quicker than others, I think. But yeah, it's quite a world to explore. I've only shown like I think a fifth of the map, or maybe even a sixth at a stretch. Yeah, so that's my review of this. It's great. Don't have anything else to add, so let's bloody move on. Sorry for speaking about my dreams, but I think this is kind of interesting, I think, to talk about. Where do I even begin with this? I guess, again, it stems from dreams again, and what's important to me about these dreams is just imagining what could be. And I was thinking of, similar to what I said earlier about a sort of, what do you call it? I actually don't know what to call it. A situation where I get rich and have access to a lot of different things and have opportunities to do different things too. I would literally want to make something for people like myself, which is accessible and just good. And this thing is obviously what I call like Neuro state, but I don't know if that's probably the right term for it. Where I'd accommodate neurodivergent people specifically with accommodations. And what I'm thinking with this is affordable housing with the right stuff built into it, the right standards, safety protocols. Like, first things first, I'd have to hire someone to figure this out for me, but I'd get somewhere with a bunch of land, and depending on how far it needs to go before sound obviously dampens and stuff or doesn't travel as far. And we also need somewhere with plenty of trees and stuff, so it'd be like kind of hidden. So it'd help to dampen the sound there. And obviously we want somewhere above sea level because climate change, you don't know. But the other thing is there'll be no demolish policy in terms of things that don't need to be demolished. So I wouldn't demolish trees, for example, like they would stay. As long as they're not in the way of their construction. But that would tie into something else, which is about fencing, but I'd fence around the trees, rather. That might be better, but I did think about having it be a state of privacy. So the only people who could come in are people with a code to the gate, or family. So there is that sort of opportunity where, people can get in and out, but it's only the people who are protected under this estate. So that'll be the neurodivergent people, including children, because, let's be honest, there's not enough places for children either. There's a big problem with that in society. Not enough accommodations there for them. So we need to have that. And yeah, it would be good. It would be honestly beneficial for a lot of people. But other than that, inside, I think there will be different types of accommodation. I think I'd offer houses with big windows, small windows, personal housing and shared housing. Obviously it'd have to be soundproofed and shit. Every house by default should have that. If they don't, what the fuck are you doing? Also hire someone to figure that out for me as well. Yeah, there's like so many important things here that tie into making it work for people, making it accessible, making it bearable for the most part. I think it's really important these days because it really gets swept under the rug. I don't know why it does, to be honest. It's just missed financial opportunities and shit. But other than that, I don't know how many like stories I've made. I have bungalows, but I have like 3-story houses. I think like have it like a stack system, so there's like rows of them. You've got bungalows at the front. You've got 2 stories behind that, and then 3 stories. Also, with like personal housing and stuff, there would be like places for like garages as well, and the 3-story ones at least. You have like a garage and I don't know, like a washroom. I don't know what you'd actually have next to it. You'd have something, anyway. Also, how did the tank gonna just get petri breathed? That's weird. It's weird. I've never seen that before. He's behind something as well. It's even weirder. So yeah, I don't know what's out really. It's just very interesting to think about. But yeah, it's one of those things. I think the world really could benefit from just a place like this, and it would help autistic people, would help work, no doubt, on the other things of that. It would just help. That's the main point of it. And it would be specifically for neurodivergent people. There'd also be a process of who exactly will get in there, so families with neurodivergent children, that can be proven as well. Adults with neurodivergency, that obviously depending on like a test and a preliminary test obviously, and even medical records that they'll be allowed in. And also certain incomes too, so I wouldn't be like greedy or something like that, where it's like, oh, well, you know, you gotta be like stupidly greedy for some reason in real estate, but I'd make it as cheap as I can. Because I don't want this to be unaffordable. It's already hard enough for autistic people to get money. So why would I make it more unaffordable? It makes 0 sense. And I think specifically the like renters and stuff who do that in society should be sued. There should be a class action lawsuit where all the autistic advocacy groups get together, sue them because of this shit, because of that injustice. So we don't have this shit constantly on our minds. Like, why are we just worrying about rent when we worry enough about surviving as it is? Seriously, it's bad. But in a place like this, hopefully people would be able to fucking work from home, work from wherever they want to, wherever is comfortable. And you know, also wouldn't be a scumbag and be like, oh, you're not up to date on the rent, I'm going to evict you. I would never fucking have that. There'd be a policy against it, actually. For even the people who just take over from me, if they ever do. They literally have limits on these things, so there has to be a reason for each bit of rent being skipped. And there has to be an interview as well. But that'll be as strict as it goes. And depending on what's happening, you know, I'll enforce something. But over time, it wouldn't be much of a problem. But if I was a billionaire, I wouldn't fucking need to care. I wouldn't even need to charge much anyway. Just based on like regulations anyway, like what, I don't know what regulations are on for like renters and stuff. Or homeowners basically. Or estates, like what do you call it? I don't know what the legal restrictions are on that sort of thing. That's the other thing, I was equipped with modern stuff as well. So something like smart heating, solar panels and a backup generator for sure I'd keep, because that would be handy to have. Power cuts are really fucking annoying for autistic people, especially if you're tied to technology. It can be really annoying, and it can be really panicky as well. I think autistic people get affected quite badly, like certain other people in that. So it's important to include something like this. Trying to think what else it would be. Like a good view would be a bonus, I think. Yeah, types of windows. So I think the types of windows I would include would depend on the room, but I'd like 2 different types on each house. So maybe go from large in one area, as long as it's like interchangeable. So you could change it with a bedroom, you could change it with a living room, but I'll have one with medium, and then I'll have one with not as small. I mean, so there's like all that type of accommodation and thought that goes into it. Also a balcony, Because you know, a balcony in a house like that for an autistic person would be good, especially if you can't get your vitamin D3 even through supplements. So of course I'd include something like that. It's that affordable. And then something like a shower or a bathtub, whatever his preference would be able to be installed. A disabled person would be able to have a lift or a chairlift. Depends on the situation really. What's best for them. And they come out of my own pocket. Because why the fuck not? If I wasn't affording this, I'd be able to afford that. It'd be like a welcome gift. Yeah, I really don't know what else to add to that really. You know, it's like almost a utopia. And it's also kind of this narrative. I remember hearing this a while ago actually. People like questioning about what would happen if you just had a society of autistic people, or at least a city of one, or a town. And my theory is that it would be better than average, but it would also have problems still. And so this actually have problems. So emergency services would get priority into getting into the place if there needs to be something like that to happen. Because, you know, we don't want really violent people getting into this place and, you know, getting away with it. Also, like drug users, basically just keep them apart as much as possible and also address the issues. But I wouldn't evict someone for like just drug use or even just other weird shit. It would have to be like really bad stuff, like literally murdering and torturing. That'd be the limit for me. But anything else is kind of like, it's debatable. It's certainly up there. It doesn't mean I forgive them. It does mean that they have things to amend for. And if they can't amend in this situation, if they take it for granted, then, you know, they've squandered it. They don't deserve places, unfortunately, and I'll have to kick them out, especially if it's like there are families in there. So it'd be another thing to consider. I just like the idea of having sort of neurodivergent real estate, and if that's like viable as well, depending on the money I have, I'll just set it up in different locations, like in each county in the UK. I don't know how many we have actually, I haven't said that. I've never actually studied it, because we never studied it in geography. I'm pretty sure in the US they study their own states in a classroom somewhere. But in the UK we don't, for some stupid fucking reason. Like what? Name one county. Liverpool. Manchester. Something like that. Yeah, it's so dumb. Literally don't know my counties. It's just funny. So what else? I don't really think there's anything else, to be honest. I think I've pretty much touched on everything. I think it currently stands with that. Again, it's like if I become stupidly rich somewhere, especially if I become like, unfortunately, like a multi-billionaire, that'd be great. But yeah, I do so much in that. Yeah, I literally wouldn't want the wealth, and you know, investors wouldn't like me for that. But tough shit. You're investors. You're not human. You've never lived a human experience in your life. Same with most of these multi-billionaires anyway. So fuck off. Anyway, I ain't got anything else to answer, let's move on. I forgot to say in the last topic, I would consider living with the same people in that area. I wouldn't need anything fancy there, but it would be a testament to how good things are, and also just keeping track of things. You know, I could easily just go and live out elsewhere, but again, I've encountered their own problems. Or their same problems elsewhere, and noise issues and area and stuff. Like, it's not worth it, and I'd just rather live with the same people in the same place because I get to know them as well. And that'd also just help me determine what types of characters are and be in a comfortable situation myself. But I wanted to talk about something else. And I forgot again what it was for some reason. Hang on. Oh yeah, driving well. So I'd sort of need to drive in that situation too, to be able to travel on my own. And one of the ways I thought of doing that is in the future, even though I want a VR headset as well, is to be able to get a driving wheel on a PC game, or something like Forza Horizon. Seems like a good idea. But it'd be a good way to learn how to drive, I think. Not like a maniac, just to be clear. I want to do that. scary enough with people driving fast when I'm a passenger. But I'd have to learn to drive somehow, and that might be the way. I think that would be a good idea, is to ease me into driving lessons. Certainly help me get over that. Also, if there's like a manual or sort of gear thing, which no doubt most cars come with anyway, I'll be able to adjust to that as well, because I'm not 100% sure how it even works. Like, I don't even know what the one speed limit is for cars. I guess it's like 10 to 20 miles per hour. It goes up by 10s each one. So it's very weird. So I wouldn't know how to address that exactly. But yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. I sort of like the idea of learning to drive. Also get not a fancy electric car, just basic one. Don't need anything stupid extra technology in it. Just maybe Bluetooth, but that's it. Don't even need the electric fucking keys. Like, I know they're like common now, really common and work well, but I wouldn't even want that. It just seems like too fancy to me, and I don't really care for it. I'd rather have my car more secure, both in an accident and on the street, than this. Because no doubt with like a frequency, because that's probably what they operate off of. The way you can get into cars is probably through that. It's like a way to get into the frequency. Just a bit dumb. So I don't really like the idea from that perspective. That's not a good idea. So yeah, that's all I have for that though, so let's move on. So yeah, GTA 6. I reacted to it a while ago, and it's because of the site having screenshots and shit. But I suppose I'm a bit sort of out of the loop in that sort of sense, because I don't follow the game, and it's just something that came up on my radar. Was it my gaydar? I can't remember. Both work. But I looked at the website, seeing all the screenshots, and not gonna lie, I got kind of excited. But then apparently Digital Foundry discovered that it wouldn't be... These aren't real. Basically, they're not in-game screenshots, which sort of makes sense, but also explains a lot, because it felt too good to be true. I was looking at that and thinking, hang on, is this real life or is this actually a game? A lot of the time. And that is testament to how good that looked. Whoever was in charge of that clearly did some work. Regardless of whether it's real or not, it's really good fucking like 3D renders and stuff. But having said that, we also got some news recently, like Sony stopping physical editions and GTA not having a physical edition. And what the fuck? And I shouldn't need to repeat what everyone's been saying, but a physical edition has its place. And regardless of how big the game is, there should be literally things in place to keep a physical edition. Whether it's multiple discs that install it, or even just like a SD card sort of situation, where it's like partitioned in a way where it can only play the game. It can't really be jailbroken until obviously someone jailbreaks it. Again, there's like so many fucking problems here. It's just insane. Like, we shouldn't have this problem to begin with, but then there's this other one. It's been over 2 years, I think, since the announcement of GTA 5, but potentially 3 years. It's no doubt been one of the most heavily anticipated games ever. The problem is, we haven't seen any gameplay. And I took note of this the moment that it happens. The moment they put out the first trailer, the moment they put out the second one. And even though it looks impressive as hell, we haven't actually seen any gameplay. So we don't even know what it's going to be like. And I don't know if it's because maybe they have a surprise, or because they're actually just not... they don't have any clue what the gameplay is going to be like. It's genuinely questionable. And given the amount of footage we've seen, again, the supposedly cutscenes, it's kind of concerning to have not seen gameplay at this point. And I saw a Legacy Killer video, who I thought was one of the, I hate to say like one of the right-leaning reporters in the industry, but I don't know actually. It seems quite rational here. So, and usually far-right people are not very rational, so it doesn't really make any logical sense. But basically they're reporting on the employees of certain game stores, and apparently even like these eBay fucking listings are for digital pre-order, by the way. What the hell? There are people reselling digital pre-orders online, which is insane. But apparently it's already reached like, I think 39 million copies or something, I've read. But only for the digital pre-order, which is insane. And so there is obviously a concern here, because it means that somehow we have to like cope with this. Like, I don't understand. Like, where is the gameplay? Why are people pre-ordering this? And one of my responses would be, a lot of the people are just not in the loop of these things, which is sad. But they'll be the sort of people that say to their friends, like, oh, do you hear about the GTA 6 website? Oh, yeah, it looks good, mate. And then they start to fucking pre-order it, obviously. Completely ignorant of what it's actually doing to the games industry and causing problems for everyone else, which is why we need protests, which is why we need much more done than that. So it's like an insane issue. Yeah, we literally need change there. So yeah, it's like stupid. So I don't really understand what else can be done, to be honest. It's like, this is so fucked. It is so fucked in the head. So yeah, like, I don't know the solution exactly. But we do need to see gameplay before anyone like plays it and stuff. I think that is a given at this point. So we do genuinely need it. So yeah, again, shouldn't be looking at this game, hyping it or anything until we see actual fucking gameplay. That is ridiculous. Like, come on, people, please. This is going to ruin the game industry, as I keep saying. No physical copy, only digital media. It's going to suck. There's, among other issues, it's going to be something like performance issues. It's going to be controversies around the gameplay itself, probably. If it does release again, it's quite ambitious to think November, which is about, was it November? Because that's about 4 months away. What the fuck are you doing? A Rockstar, what the hell? It doesn't make sense, and then no doubt a ton of sponsorships as well, which I'd be surprised if they do actually, because it doesn't really need any. It's concerning, as I keep saying. So it's like, again, it's like so fucked. There's no like easy solution for this. So it's like, yeah, what the hell? It's so weird. Anyway, I need to move on, I think, because my team's wiping for some reason. Yeah, just hope it goes better as the time goes on. Maybe we'll start to see gameplay before it releases. But the fact they can't even show a snippet is in itself a worry. That's one of my bigger concerns here. If they can't even show a snippet, what even is there? It's an $80 to $100 game. I mean, the Ultimate Edition being shit because it locks content to it for some reason, which I find stupid. Just seems an extra way to get profit. But yeah, it's like so dumb. You know, this is just ridiculous. So anyway, I need to move on because I'm busy with this, obviously. So yeah, let's move on. Well, there's something that needs to be said about politics, where I take comfort in the idea that the worst thing that people can muster up about politicians is weird, trivial shit. But when it comes to the right, there's often really bad stories. And it's proven by social media presence, botting and stuff, and literally everything they do. But like, it's so weird. Like, how do I describe this? Like, if you look at any sort of social media post on any other platform besides Blue Sky, it's riddled with just garbage in the comments, botting, and just bigotry in general, and probably like Islamophobia as well, which I've definitely seen before. But it's like such a fucking joke, because the only thing that people can come up with that has any sort of issue or relevance here, or what do I call it, the only thing is, like, people can find the most trivial things about someone. Like, I'll explain the Green Party stuff later, but, you know, going through the parties that currently have big controversies against them, I wrote this down. I need to actually pull up the thingy, save this music thing quick, and then pull up the notepad that I wrote on this, and then put it on the side. Complicated, that is. So yeah, like, looking at Labour, Keir Starmer's weird sort of hostile takeover sort of thing, with Labour being far right now, and that also being a part of the advisory. Apparently there's like an advisor on this sort of thing, and it's like such a big problem. The advisory part of it is what causes issues, it seems. But they also have this weird funding issue. I remember there being a controversy somewhere, someone investigated it. Labour had some weird funding thing, and it was like a really big deal because, of course, well, it is a big deal. But what the fuck is going on? Why are they having this extra funding from somewhere? And, you know, not paying the price for it. It shows blatant corruption to me. And that in itself is an issue. So Labour already has things against them. But contrary to what people want to believe online, they're not actually a left-leaning party anymore. They think they used to be at one point or another, and they used to preach it, but now, even with like Keir Starmer actually seeming that way, it's not. It's been corrupted. It's been taken over by someone corrupt. And what else do I say? And then we've got the Conservatives, who have a bad track record. It's like almost like collecting figurines at this point. You've got figurines of like terrible people, terrible policies and practices. But yeah, Conservatives, you don't think much to say on. There's been so many prime ministers under the Conservatives. There's been various controversies around them. I still remember the James Cameron, or David Cameron, I think it was actually. James Cameron's a director, ain't he? But David Cameron literally fucked a pig's head, apparently, which is weird and gross. Certainly not good. And you know, that's one of the biggest things. But then there's obviously changed prime minister so many times as well. It's sort of hard to track like who did what. But again, there's been controversies around them too. So it's been weird. And Boris Johnson notably caused many deaths as a result of COVID, which die hard because Tories would not like, because of failing to address COVID properly and funding the NHS with that. So yeah, also trying to take away benefits at one point, I remember them doing. But they're such a fucking terrible party. We all knew it was the moment they got in. I remember even as a teenager when they first got in, it's like, you know, this is bad. When your parents are talking about it, when grandparents are talking about it, it's just, yeah, it's a disaster. Complete fucking shit show. And nobody seemed to care. It was just kind of the problem. Like, what the fuck? So I don't really get it. But then you've got rather recent reform. And the reform on themselves in a lot of hot water. There's been so many different things, I can't even go into them because there's so many issues. But they've been a shit show as well. Like one of the first ones, Russian assets. There's also a controversy with like various like MPs, Nigel Farage standing next to Trump, and Trump also appearing on GB News, with GB News being funded by Reform. There's so many fucking things going on with this corrupt ass party, including like bots and stuff, which come up later. But it's so much of a shit show. And then there's also Nigel Farage's £5 million gift. There's those posts which are kind of illegal about setting up detention centres in places that are voted or voted in Green, which is not something you can do. It's incredibly stupid, even their own voters realised it. And then they sort of lost a lot of the elections as well, I think. And got mad that they didn't win, as did the voters. And also the voters are responsible for riots and various like homophobic, racist bullshit as well. Again, Reform has done so much damage, and then Restore similar things, probably less severe but still bad either way. I'd still argue it's quite as bad. I'll see Rupert Lowe wanting a sort of Sharia law but in a Christian way, it seems. And not many people want to admit that, but it is the Sharia law. It's the thing that he's asking. They don't realise if it's exactly the same thing. You have to be really stupid to think that Sharia law is somehow worse than Christian law or theocracy. Yeah, again, it's just so many controversies, and it really gives you comfort in a way. So what's the next thing? Restore something else as well. Yeah, Tommy Robinson and Elon Musk being involved. That's the other thing with Restore. Not good. Restore Britain, I mean. I forget to like clarify that. It's just so bad. And then let's see for actually like the bad policies. But even then, there are good ones that don't have good stuff anyway. Or at least they do have good stuff, I mean. But the issue is, these controversies are so fucking mind-numbing and stupid and don't really need to exist. That happens to be something like Zach Polanski's hypnotherapy thing. Also, I just remembered Your Party got out of the way, Jeremy Corbyn and I forgot the name of the lady, Zoe. I think it was Zoe, I don't know. But I don't know, I came in and disbanded the party. Real fucking petty shit in my opinion. It was so dumb. But that failed, and they should defect to the Greens ideally. You know, even at a disadvantaged position, but you know, what are you gonna do? It's us against them. Either you have to join us or, you know, fail. Fuck everyone over. It's obviously a strong message for Jeremy Corbyn there. And whoever the other lady was, I forgot the name. What's the other thing? In the Green Party, you also had Zach Polanski's council tax thing, which I'm not aware of. I don't know what the entire story is. There's also the Gold is Green stuff. There's also that bit of stupidity, which everyone has to admit is a bit dumb. You know, it wasn't necessary. I get that we shouldn't condone violence in any way, but we can't condemn violence without at least having a little violence, as in with the way that we treat criminals. If they're violent, they deserve violence. In the same way in America, that if they dare fucking shoot a gun at a police officer or a civilian, then they themselves should be shot. You know, it opens them up. That should be how it's done. It's not an ideal world, but in a world where you have those, it's absolutely necessary. It's kind of satisfying to see as well sometimes, even though I don't really agree with police officers that much. It's just good that they can actually fight back against that sort of shit. And then what else is there? Yeah, with the Greens EHRC disaster, when they were debating that and didn't turn up. There was like a few reasons for that, I think. It's not the be all end all. Apparently it's like a misrepresentation though, so not too harsh on that, but the other thing is, when the Green Party are actually not talking about trans rights or LGBTQ plus or even the EHRC code in their own posts, and the only things they did was repost another MP's position on that, so it's very suspicious. But that's the thing against the Green Party and the Lib Dems I've heard nothing about. Literally nobody has talked about the Lib Dems. Admittedly, I haven't been following them for a long time, but I still haven't heard anything about them. So there's no point in fucking calling this out. Like, what are you people doing with your fucking time? You're harassing parties that don't even have any ill will or anything suspicious going on. Not to mention, I forgot to mention, reform and restore are in bed by virtue of their actions with billionaires. So you've got that problem as well. And what have the left done exactly? It's my question. As someone who's unbiased, what have they done? Nothing is the answer. Because they haven't actually done anything. There's nothing wrong with what they're doing. Nobody has brought up any valid points, and any sort of valid points they may have, is drowned out by the stupid shit of these bots, like the insults, like the random call-outs of these other actions. And weirdly enough, nobody even calls out the gold screen incident enough, which I think they should focus on more than the fucking hypnotherapy. If you go on something like Facebook and look at like the green pages and stuff, and even BLANKFIELD, it's just bots posting the same fucking shit and the same images. I'm surprised images weren't disabled. Like, those posts get heavily botted. It's very obvious by the ratio. There's not actual people commenting on them. If you look at the replies, they never reply to these as other comments. So again, there's like barely anything there. The bots don't even help. And the intent obviously is to probably ratio and demean them, or even just have an attack on their sort of, I don't know what to call it, not the libido, that's something else. But their momentum maybe. Like trying to halt it, trying to get people to doubt themselves and get away from whatever politics they're pushing. As I said, it's ridiculous. Again, these are the only claims. Then what are we doing here? Because it's clearly not doing anything in the benefit of any other person. It's just things being done for the benefit of billionaires and Trump. It's so fucking corrupt that even people are corrupt themselves. It's so obvious, and the fact that the Dems also have the same issues that Zach and the Green Party have, online at least, with the botting and the constant call-outs, although there's not really any call-outs on the Dems, it really demonstrates a problem. And I don't know why in the UK there isn't anything done to suppress these people, suppress these parties and investigate. Because there's very clearly a botting problem, and this does concern the police. Because it is election rigging, it is vote rigging. Because these people are obviously a danger. Whoever set up the bots, whoever's in charge of it, whoever notioned it, they are an active danger to the UK. They are a terrorist threat. Draw that into your fucking heads. We cannot stand for this shit. And it'd be the same if it was the other way around. If the left were doing the same thing. By all means, investigate, prosecute. Because this shit is why we're unsafe. It's why nobody feels safe anymore. It's not the migrants, it's the buying problems, it's the misinformation. So yeah, people need to pay attention, be wiser with their actions. And as I've sort of said before, I wouldn't really trust anyone who's in association with billionaires or fascists or Nazis. And surprisingly, all the four parties that I've claimed are bad have done that. And it'd be the same if someone like the Green Party were to do that as well. I'd start to take issue. And that's when you know things are wrong. Do I need to say more? I shouldn't need to, because it's quite fucking obvious. Anyway, I better move on from this topic. So, it still remains I have questions about living in a flat/apartment, because I really want to. There is a desire to have that. And one of the best pieces of advice I sort of knew anyway should have been a thing is looking out for concrete. So I had to tell the fan it's too warm. As in, everything needs to be made of fucking concrete. The walls, the floor, the ceiling, and I think that's really important. But I think the chances of finding that are probably quite low. I could be wrong. But a concrete flat, even just walls, I think would just be good enough. And again, as I said, like 2 or 3 stories, it's probably the max. I don't want to be caved in between somewhere. So no, like middle rooms with like 4, or maybe even like, it depends how many there are, but 8 is probably the maximum amount of rooms you can have surrounding you. Because the corners would count if they travel through the sound travels through it. So that does matter. Also, I just realised I switched a free screenshot as an issue. Yeah, foliage stops rendering there. But yeah, like, there's so many fucking problems here that I can find, and there's even things more in depth that I haven't considered, like the things I need to buy to make it livable, and I need to get a new bed, I think. I don't really like having whether this is a Donovan or something. It's probably a person's name, not actually. Duvan, that's it. Duvan bed. But it's well designed, but it's not very accessible. The drawers are a bit shit, they're a bit broken as well, I've had to fix that. It allows for, like, I think insects to get inside and stuff and hide in there and shit, which is awful. Luckily it has like a bottom bit, so it's protected, but with Ottoman you get that by default. And I think I'd just rather have the Ottoman to store things in and whatever. I think that seems like the best choice to me, to get a new one. And then one of the other benefits, and I saw this in a, was it? It might have actually been an apartment tour, but it's something I considered years ago, but having a projector to simply stream stuff on whilst I fall asleep. Because I like to fall asleep with a sort of nightlight. Like, yeah, it sounds silly, but the darkness does freak me out, like complete darkness. And that tends to be what happens, even with some of the lights in here, like the clock and whatever. But I think that's my only choice. But imagine a fucking projector, either to the side of my bed or to the front of it, or even the ceiling, if that's even possible. And that'd be great to have one with like a sleep timer, and, you know, fall asleep to. You know, some sort of, not necessarily like cinema imagery, I don't need anything that fancy, I just need like a static image with some dynamics. So maybe like a beachside or a mountain side or whatever. There's different ones out there, I don't know. It just would be nice to sort of fall asleep into, and also help me focus and help with things like depression and PTSD. I'm pretty sure I have PTSD, I'm not entirely sure. I've had it just waved off for some reason during my actual mental health diagnosis. I don't know why, it's the same thing with ADHD for some reason. I know I have something, but they just don't even entertain the idea, which is a bit dumb. So I'm ending up with less diagnosis than I actually have, which is really fucking annoying. But that's also kind of one of the aspects I look forward to if I do get in that situation. Even if it's like a smaller bedroom, I wouldn't mind so much myself. Like if it's just the width, or the same size as the bed as it currently is, I won't really mind it. The only annoying thing is if things fall behind it, or if there's like a plug socket near one of these pots, which I don't like the idea of. I think it's really stupid when they design plug sockets like that, especially when they're so close to the ground. Like, Jesus Christ, like, what are people doing? It makes more sense when a plug socket is actually higher up, about like waist height, I'd say. But I could be wrong. I just prefer plug sockets when they're not stupidly placed. I remember in my first house, just getting to the plug socket behind my bed was a nightmare. I even got some sort of fucking grabber thing. For some stupid reason I got one with a magnet. Wasn't thinking, but I'd never used it, luckily. I sort of thought, well, hang on, if there's a magnet in here, and magnets can sort of draw electricity, and maybe not a good idea then. So I didn't do that. Instead, I almost dislocated my arm trying to reach it, which was probably the safer bet. It's how stupid some of these places are, in all honesty. And even then, if you try to move it, because there's only about 7 or 8 feet between the bed and the wall, so if you try to move it, it wouldn't fucking be able to. It's impossible. So there's always a weird thing that. Anyway, then I've got to consider a new desk because I don't like this. So I just want to get a table. I think. The only thing I'm missing is the what do you call them? Cable holes or something. I don't know. Maybe there's a better desk out there that allows just cable management, but I need a big desk. That's the thing. So that complicates things a bit, admittedly. But that is a thing that I'm considering. Being able to put my PC on top. Just so probably has some privacy depending on where I put it. Yeah, I quite like the idea of a new table for desk, whatever you call it. Also, of it being a bit wider, there may be another way to store stuff. I could be able to put something on top or something, or side, or just move these back. Yeah, it really depends. I've got so many drawers in here. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got my dresser at 6, and then there's one that's sort of half drawer, half storage thing. It's open. 7. Wait, 8 because of bedside. Wait. Yeah, about 8 or 9 actually. I've got a few. I might get rid of one of the bedside drawers, I think, because it's just annoyance. And also, with the existence of it and my own place, I don't even need storage drawers. I've got one here for the snacks. It sounds weird, but there's not really anywhere else to put them. If I put them in the kitchen, stuff might get stolen, and even then, it's just not much room. There's not much room in the kitchen either, so another thing. The only other thing with wherever my computer is going to be is a window seal kit for the pop aircon. That's pretty much a given. You're going to need to actually figure that out to obviously put that up, and obviously put up an insect net. Which I have a feeling it'd be interchangeable. If I do it correctly, I could interchange the insect net and the seal kit. I'd worry about like bugs getting and stuff, and that's mainly why I care about that. But yeah, I don't know what else to really say to that. It's just a very strange situation. And then the other things I considered, I need to buy quite a few things, I reckon, depending on what's there in the kitchen. I might need a fridge freezer, which might be good. I don't really plan on getting anything too fancy. I just need a standard one. Don't even need like a vegetable fucking tray. But like 2 freezer drawers, 2 fridge shelves, that's it. I don't need anything else. I've got plenty of room on this side, just stuff it with like cans of drink. But it would be good to have an extra shelf and stuff for like medication, which I obviously still use and stuff. So using shelves for sauces and drinks and stuff. Again, there's quite a few things to consider. But I don't need anything too technical. As long as it's just like a plug-in, maybe adjust temperature, and that's it. And then I need a dustpan and brush. I'm not sure if I'll get just a floor one or just the hand one. I think both, maybe. I'll just write that down, like both. Maybe. Maybe there's a set. I like the floor ones because they're quite accessible. That'd be handy for if you drop food and stuff, and I don't like picking things off the floor, it's a bit gross. Obviously a hand one would be more personal, so yeah. And then there's a kettle, weirdly enough. It seems strange saying that, but literally, you do need a fucking kettle, especially if you're cooking. I've already got a lot of the stuff I need for a kitchen anyway. I've got pots and pans, I've got an air fryer, I've even got some trays, but I might replace them actually. That's a good point. So speaking of cooking, oven trays if oven is. So I do need that. Because some of mine are just quite stained, and also need the paper, the parchment, and parchment. So yeah, I've got a lot of the things, as I said. I might also reclaim some of the things I have. I don't know. I've already got like a blender, I've got a scale somewhere. So I think it might be Pardon me. I'll be fine there. I wouldn't need a fucking measuring drug, Jesus. Even though I don't use it much. A measuring drug would be good. What else? I also thought about a tumble dryer, because I'm not sure how the drying system works in a flat. Because I obviously haven't really lived in any, and even when I was with my dad, I don't remember how we dried clothes, if we did. I'm not sure if we just re-wore them or something. Because I was mainly wearing my school uniform, and I actually mainly wear all that throughout the day. I even wore it until like bedtime, where I just got into my pajamas. Yeah, I'm not sure about it. It's a very weird sort of thing. But drying it, I might consider as something like a tumble dryer, if that's possible, even just something small that can dry it. Like, I don't know what exists, but I need something. Because it's obviously not sustainable to dry it indoors, and when I have the amount of problems I have with breathing and asthma, it's not possible to dry indoors. I've been around places like that. And when I dry indoors, I've to get my bath stuff out already today. For today. But yeah, it's always humid. It's always kind of horrible. It's not a pleasant thing at all. So I do need to consider that. But I just put tumble dryer or dryer thingy. And yes, I would consider a dehumidifier, but like, where do I put it? Because it depends on the space as well. This is the thing with the tumble dryer. Again, it depends on the space, and also depends on the size. So again, that's like that situation where like you need to consider these things. Like, I don't know what gets involved. I won't even consider hanging outside unless there's a balcony. But even then, I worry that it'll just fall off, so I might use pegs, and then it just adds to the stress. Because I don't want the wind blowing it away. So again, there's like these very niche problems. Even though if I hang on a balcony, I could just put a net up or something and then have it near the door, near the wherever the balcony is, and then that'll dry it. I'm still not 100% sure. Drying is probably going to be the most complicated thing. And then there's the bathroom situation. I didn't consider this before, but I'm going to need to get rid of my plunger. The only reason is it's solid as fuck, and I think it's broken a bit as well. Like, my shits are that powerful that the plunger is actually broken. I think it's got air holes in it. It sucks up just fine, but it feels like it's got air holes whenever I push down. It does like a sort of deflating sound, which is really annoying. So I might need to get a new one. And then there's a bidet dryer add-on for the toilet, if that exists, or just a bidet dryer toilet, which would be extremely helpful, I think. And then a towel rack, if none, I need to add that, or a towel holder. I need that for both drying hands and the bathroom. Just getting access to it when I'm cleaning myself. And then finally a seat and a mat if it has a shower. So yeah, things to consider. I'm still thinking about what I might need. I've got, again, as I said, I've got a lot of things. I might need extra storage for like guitar stuff. Might even put my instruments on a table, on a guitar rack. Because I don't know. It's one of those things, I don't really want to hang them up. Again, it's a nice display, but it depends on the space. Yeah, let's move on. Somehow my life got shittier in the span of a few hours. I don't get it. I don't understand what the fuck is happening in this world. You've got climate deniers everywhere. You've got people who just don't understand politics, people who don't understand the way the world works in reality. I believe they're a deluded idea of one based on 40 or 50 years ago, which obviously is not an accurate way to view society today. When I realise this as a 90s kid, well, sort of 90s kid, more like a 90s baby, I guess. But again, there's more issues, and these ones relate to my personal life, it seems. So I haven't had any confirmation about the flats or anything, or if I'm going to look for some or what. There's been nothing so far. I've said that I'm interested and I'm not getting a response. And then the other issue comes up where today I had one pretty stressful day. Among other things, just so many things that just pissed me off. I think there are two main things that really did it for me. First one would be, actually three things that did it. First one is when I was taking a bath, because I usually take a bath. I would take showers, but they're just not comfortable enough for me, and I hate having to like squat in them because it's so uncomfortable. And like, yeah, you could say get a seat, but a seat wouldn't even fucking accommodate me. There's no leg room, so a seat wouldn't do anything. I might as well just have a bath. That's why I do that. It's just like a stupid thing. It's definitely not suitable for a shower though. Like, God, you have to be delusional to believe that. But another thing with that is the noise. Because I hear so much fucking noise from my housemate who's in the room across from the bathroom. For some reason he has I don't know what it is, need or want to speak constantly at an unbearable fucking volume. But I myself, I don't consider myself being too loud. At most you could probably hear like an old like rumble or something where you're just like peaking the volume meter. But that's it. Him is like constant. It's like a fucking car engine. Literally that loud. And the speaking voice is obviously so loud that it can travel through walls, I can hear it downstairs. That's always been an issue. But it's just so fucking ridiculous. I don't get it when people have these like non-talking voices, it seems. So it's like a shout voice, I suppose. But that just really pissed me off because I tried to save my time in the bath, and it was a warm day as well, so I ran the tap warm bit and then I put it on cold just to accommodate that temperature. And it actually works out really well. It's actually quite comforting to be in cold water as long as you set it up properly. Because that's the thing, you can't just do cold water. I've tried that before and it's not worth it. Even tried like a cold shower before and it's not possible. I cannot stand that. It's one of the worst feelings I've ever had in my life, which really goes to show the problems there. So it's like very bizarre. I don't really understand the logic there. Why they can't design shit properly. It's just bizarre. So let's see the other thing. After that I went to grab my washing from the conservatory, which is probably not a secret now. And it smelled of shit. Not the washing, luckily, but somewhere else did. And as it tends to get stupidly warm in there, the doors have to be open, so it's luckily not actually something inside. I can report that. I looked outside at the bowl I was using to feed the wildlife. Not feed her, you know, give them a drink, rather. Don't actually feed the wildlife. And it just had a giant fucking shit in it. Just there, with water around it. And somehow the water had been drunk out of, so I don't know what the fuck happened. It's so weird. So that was obviously the cause of the smell, but I couldn't figure out how to deal with it because none of my search terms were telling me what to do. I was thinking like, do I just get some gloves on? I just had a bath. I can't be dealing with this. So in the end I just called support because I didn't know what to fucking do. And also the door broke, so that was also a good excuse. It's like really convenient. Jesus Christ though, like, what is fucking wrong with this? It's weld this fucking house as well. I could do so, I can't remember what I was doing. Yeah, I was going to change the search engine. I'm deciding to just go start up now. I'm not DuckDuckGo, it's pretty useless. The fact I can't even find these obvious things is just, yeah, not good. So let's see the other thing. Oh yeah, that was it. I got a few letters through and I was just kind of curious what it was, and it turns out my bills have been increased for one of the things I'm paying for. What the fuck? Look, I wasn't warned about it, for starters. I wasn't told that it would increase, ever. And suddenly it's going up. I noticed when my payment here went up from, what was it? I don't want to say the exact amount. It's like in the hundreds. From hundreds to hundreds. But it's so fucking ridiculous. I did not know what to do about that, and I'm going to try calling again tomorrow. I did leave a voicemail. But I don't know why the fuck it's being increased, because I can't afford that. What they're asking me is essentially only making me able to pay for groceries in the long run, which is not good. It is a shit fucking practice. So it really goes to show that this just isn't a sustainable model where they're fucking employing for these bills here, whatever they're asking me for. And that thing from before apparently was dealt with, but I'm not 100% confident in that either, because I can't afford that either. This is a thing, they're asking for money that I don't have, and money that I have to use to prioritise on my mental health. Like, what do you fucking expect? I can't work. People have known me not being able to work. People think I'm useless, and so I can't actually do even the basic things. Can't even clean my room. Like, what do you fucking want? What do you think I can do? This is what I often ask when people confront me when they notice that I don't have a job. Again, what do you think I can do? You seem to think I've got a quality to me about working a job, but you can't identify it. And then whenever you bring up something stupid, like, oh, just be a call centre, join one of them, you can't. Nobody likes my voice, for starters. Nobody will hire me because of my voice. I've got Crohn's disease, and I've got anxiety and autism. Anxiety will lead me to have severe responses to very distressing situations and potentially trauma, if there is any. And autism shutdowns. That just made me unable to respond, and meltdowns too. So again, I'm not hireable. I'm not employable. That's often where I come back to with this, and these bills are asking me for something basically on a salary that I do not have. Nobody fucking has. It's just absurd. And I look at also what's included in this bill, and apparently I don't even pay a bigger portion of it, because for some reason it's like that heavily funded. I'm so confused by it, because it feels like it's a cheap service to me, obviously what I'm using here. But for some reason it seems to be really blown out of proportion in terms of how much it costs. So to me it seems almost like a scam. And again, I'm going to sort of confront them on that, because it seems ridiculous. They're asking people who can't work, and there's other people like me in this situation as well, to pay something they cannot afford. Like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? Go out of food instead of paying this? Like, it doesn't make sense. They do not use their fucking heads here. Absolute morons. So that's also naturally led to some really severe stress, which I'm going to have to fucking have more of an issue with. I literally just I'm rather going through a big flare-up because of the stress I had a few weeks ago, and because it takes weeks to fucking catch up with you for some dumb reason. I'm ending up having to go through it again, so I'll get constipation again 2 or 3 weeks from now, and have mucus all over my fucking arse, leaking out of me as well, because that's what happens when I'm under severe stress, as it turns out. And then people are going to complain about the smell. What the fuck do you expect? You're asking for money I don't have. What more do you want? It's so fucking ridiculous. Like, it's stressing me the fuck out, and I literally do feel my heart rate increasing. I'm just thinking about this, but at the time it's like, it's very dangerous. I literally felt like I was almost on the verge of a heart attack. Yeah, these fuckers keep demanding money. I want money. I don't get much. I get below the minimum fucking wage. What are you on about? Again, why am I being even charged for this? Because it should be a fucking charity at this point. I just do not get it. Again, I don't know if I'm even going to pay for the other ones that I'm supposed to pay. This just really fucking pissed me off. I need a justification for it. And I also need to be told, like, what this is about. Why is it increased? What am I paying for? And then why can't others pay for it? I thought this was like a fucking charity thing, and apparently not. So yeah, it's just bizarre, and they also think really unrealistic expectations on myself for whatever reason. So yeah, naturally I'm just really pissed off. How the fuck am I going to survive this? And then obviously I'll just go back down to depression after that. Again, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. I don't make any extra fucking money. And even though there's an opportunity for me to pay it in the future, but keyboard there, future, is still not very viable. Essentially, I'm gonna fucking have to ask people for money. I'm gonna have to be a fucking beggar now. Because of this. Because of how high this number is. Because of all the things I'm trying to pay off at the moment, and as well as subscriptions. And more to come. Again, there's no logic here. There's just no fucking escape. I don't know what's hard. I'll move on.